am reading Defectors, I think that's how you say it, by Paola Ramos. And I didn't know that she was the daughter of Jorge Ramos. Should have known. Well, that last name is kind of common. Like, I even have Ramos in my last names. So, but anyways, she is interviewing a lot of people, and I'm gonna write blog posts slash kind of like reviews and what I learned from this book. But it was something that she said while she was interviewing this hair salon owner, Afro-Dominican lady in Washington Heights, you know, like the Mecca in New York for Dominican people. And it was wild what she said, and I it saddens me, but I love that I'm listening to this book because it's giving me further insight than what I have experienced when it comes to why Latinos y Latinas, they just choose to um, aferrarse to whiteness and vote against their own interests and their community's interests. So this Afro-Dominican lady who has a pseudonym of Isabel, she says that she is so fearful every time she closes her salon late at night and walks back home. And then Paola, she asks, she's like, why? Who are you afraid of? And she says, them. And as soon as I heard that, like, I started, it started clicking. I started linking a lot of things together. And I was like, damn. And then the first thing that I thought was like, I'm not like those immigrants, kind of like those conversations that I have with Latinos and my own mindset when I was young here in the United States, because I wasn't like immune to viewing illegal immigrants and dehumanizing them in my mind. I was not immune to that. I held those same views before. But as I started learning other people's experiences, reading books, that was a big one for me, and listening to scholars and historians and all this other stuff, then I started to let go of that mindset and really see these human beings as just that, human beings like just you and I, whoever is listening to this recording, right? That made a difficult choice, because that's not an easy one, to cross that border either alone or with kids or so forth, because they're either running away or looking for something that they cannot find in their homeland. And understanding that moving and changing and going into a new environment, a whole different country and a whole culture, different culture, is anxiety ridden, and it's a difficult choice to make. So because it is so difficult, there has to be a powerful motivator behind it. So when I realized that, it shifted my mindset to look at whatever legal or illegal immigrants, to look at them as human beings. But, right, when Isabel said that, I'm scared of them, it automatically reminded me of that mindset that I used to hold, and of what I have heard from other Latinos who still hold on to that mindset, which is, I am different because I either came here with papers or I got papers and I'm legal. Therefore, I am a good person now. And and then that mindset is also rooted in that, what we learned from our colonizers, which is to attach ourselves to whiteness in order to not be harassed, to not be killed, to not be raped, to not like have all this violence inflicted on us. So remember, like, we lived through that years and years, centuries, right, of going through colonization violence and rhetoric, to the point where now we ourselves, even without the colonizer there, are mimicking this and are passing down this language and these teachings to our kids. And generations of Latinx folks will have parents that pass this colonizer mindset to them. So if we don't stop it now, we are going to have bigger issues later on. But just hearing that word them really put things into perspective for me as to how it's all rooted in that fear of not belonging, that fear that because we don't belong, that we're gonna be ousted and not protected by the dominant class or the dominant race, which in the United States is still white America, right? And Afro Latinos are not immune to this either. Even with their melanated rich skin, right? They are not immune to that. I know for me, it took me a while to identify my Afro-ness in my background, in my ancestry, and it wasn't until I started kind of really looking at myself and my features, and I'm like, wow, this didn't come from Spain. This didn't come from Portugal. You see what I'm saying? And then I was like, there's another side of me that I haven't centered, that I haven't acknowledged before. And it just goes back to that colonizing mindset that is like aferrarse a, a la a lo blanco to whiteness so that way I can be protected, right? And violence won't be inflicted on me. But that's why I say, like, some Afro Latinos still look at themselves as white, pero oscuro. And that is a quote there in Paola's book. I thought that was so sadly funny. Uh, when she's talking about an Afro-Dominican who is an activist in the Bronx, and he is watching a fight back in 1990 something, and his dad's friend, 6'4", foot, like black Dominican man, and he is like yelling all these racial slurs to the black boxer that is in the ring, and I believe it's with another boxer. I don't know if the boxer was Mexican or whatnot, but he is yelling at the TV and yelling all these racial slurs towards the black boxer. And then the Afro Dominican activist, he's like, brother, you know you're black, right? And then this 6'4" black Dominican man looks back and say, "Soy blanco oscuro." And I'm like, wow, wow, wow. And then Paola, she drives it home by saying that that is how ingrained, right, this colonizer mindset is on Latinidad, to the point where we will dilute reality and shift reality to a false narrative, so that way we can stay comfortable in knowing that we are protected by whiteness.